Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Kevin Gallagher, and we're here with Time Out with Kevin Gallagher, and we are here weekly. If you watch us on television in Connecticut, we're here every Friday night, 8:30 p.m., every Monday morning at 11 a.m. Now, if you're watching us on the web, you can catch us a number of different ways. You can watch us at the Truth Be Told Radio Network page. You can also watch us on the Facebook page for the TV show. You can also catch us through Twitter. You can catch us that way. The Twitch feed for the radio network, all those different ways that you can find this program. Plus, if you know when we come on live, you can be watching the show live as it goes out over the internet. I'm Kevin Gallagher. Thank you for watching, and we've been doing this show. We're going, let's see, it'll be in October, our 26th complete year. We'll be doing that. I can't believe it's, wow, 26 years. So we're just chugging along, and we have a regular guest that we talk to here tonight, probably about twice or maybe 3 times a year. He has a radio show for BioCare Hospital that he co-founded a number of years ago. That is in Tijuana, Mexico. It's one of the finest medical facilities you're going to find anywhere in the world. So we have Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez here with us. If you're watching us live right now, I'm taping this around 6 p.m., and that is 6 p.m. July the 6th, I believe. Yeah, July the 6th. So if you're watching this right now and you want to type in a question, we can get that over to him. If not, hey, sit back, put on the seatbelts, enjoy the program. Dr. Rodriguez, it's very good to see you, sir. How are you? And welcome to the program.
I'm very happy to be with you. I was commenting just a few moments ago on how easy the communication between you and us has been. I think
Yes.
we are very much on the same wave. We think alike. We
Mhm.
believe in the same beliefs. So I think that makes us a good unity to try to convey messages to people and help them, period.
Yes. Yes, absolutely, sir. And just very quickly, just in case people don't know about the BioCare Hospital, give people just a brief synopsis about who BioCare Hospital is, what you do, and why you got your start. And let's take it from there, and we'll get into the subject matter.
Well, it's very simple. The bottom line is very simple. It has been a long way to get where we are. But the bottom line is when you become a doctor, you normally do it because somebody tells you you could be helping people. I remember distinctly my physician. Those were the times when a family doctor was a family doctor. The
Hmm.
same doctor that was with me when I was delivered is the one that operated on my appendix, is the one
Hmm.
that oversaw the whole family, because that's what doctors used to do. They were really family doctors. And they knew
Yes.
everybody and they did a lot of things, a lot of very good things. And I remember distinctly that every time you went to the doctor, my mother would ask, or the doctor would say, uh, what sort of a diet the kid, or what sort of a diet my husband should be on. And the doctors normally would say, well, don't eat this, don't eat that, take care of this, stay in your room. We don't, when I became a doctor, none of those things existed any longer. And I could see the lack, the need for that benefit. And
Hmm.
then I thought something here is happening that I don't like. And what I don't like is the fact that we completely disregarded what our body can do for us. One very important part of medical care today, of biocare today, should be that we have to understand that if we know our tools, if we understand what our body can do for us, we're going to be helpful. We can revert diseases. We can put diseases on remission. We can do so many things if we only know and set things in action. But being in a hospital was a very poor experience because food is lousy, is filled with the wrong ingredients,
Yeah.
uh, the wrong kind of calories, the wrong kind of nutrition. And nutrition was completely disregarded, the same as bed rest or good mood or a lot of things that can make your body work well. exercise, etc. So when I saw all that and we started treating people, I saw that one of the most difficult things for me to get was good food for my patients.
Yeah.
Let's, let's just begin with that. And there's a point when I thought we have to have our own facility. Then, when you do cleansing, when you do detoxification, when we started trying to replenish intestinal flora, for example, what happened? What happened is that you cannot do it. I mean, you cannot go to a hospital and ask a nurse to give an enema unless you're going to have some sort of imaging study like a colon uh, x-ray. Otherwise, enemas have completely been forgotten. And they were part of the US pharmacopoeia when I
Hmm.
was a medical student. It's gone, it doesn't exist anymore. But it can do a lot of good, and we have seen it with years and years of experience. So there were a number of things that we thought we need our own facility. We need a place where we can say, where we have a definite say so in what patients eat, how patients are cleansed, how patients are detoxified, how we're going to exploit, so to speak, all those resources that sick person that's in front of me has built within. I
Yeah.
want to exploit all those possibilities because I know that if I can do it, I have much more chances of having a good recovery, a fast recovery, a less expensive recovery, a long lasting recovery. I have so much more to give to the patient if I take care of those things. And that has been our quest ever since.
Yeah, and that's excellent. One thing that I talked to you earlier, and it was like, I really want to talk to you about cancer this time because what I've noticed is that, and maybe it's just me, and if you agree with me, great, but that is, it didn't seem like there was so many people getting cancer years ago. You go back 40, 50 years. I don't think it didn't seem like as many people were getting cancer as they are now. And it seems like I turn around and this person has cancer. Another person I know has cancer. This person just died from cancer. And the number of different cancers that people are getting. Is that an accurate observation on my part, or am I just imagining that?
It's so accurate that I'm very happy that you brought it up. It's, I mean, I have more than 50 years as a doctor. And I remember when I started medical school, or I remember as a young person, that cancer used to be not a very frequent disease, number one. And second, most of the people that got cancer were older people.
Hmm.
I mean, I look at them and I thought, oh, that's an old man. He was probably younger than what I am today, but nevertheless, we always saw that this was an older person's disease. You have to be about over 70, something like that, to start thinking of cancer. Never 50 or 40.
Yeah.
Today is so frequent. And not only it's very frequent, but we're watching younger and younger people be affected with cancer. And that's very important because that destroys the myth that we have more cancer because we're living longer.
Hmm.
No, we're seeing more cancer because there is much more cancer. Cancer is out there, just ready to grab us. Just like any other infection, like any other disease, it's just right there and hoping to catch us and give us a disease. And the most important thing here is that once again, we have the tools to put that cancer in remission before it happens.
Yeah.
You see, but if we don't know, we don't have we don't have the possibility. And the only way to solve it is to empower us with knowledge, with education, and say, wait a minute, what am I doing with my body? Am I really going to work all my life to spend enough money to be able to afford medical care?
Yeah.
You see, because the point right now is that many of us end our lives spending everything we saved, everything we accumulated in doctor's bills, hospitals,
Hmm.
transplants, and so on.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? One thing I can tell you is I can remember hearing stories about, like you were saying, little kids getting cancer, and doctors. I would hear the stories would drive in from like 200 miles away to see this kid because little kids, didn't get cancer, and so it was like this anomaly. And now you got whole hospitals that are set up just to take care of kids with cancer.
That cancer has become a major player in adolescents' deaths. I said deaths, not sick people. Adolescents are dying of cancer as frequent as almost like car accident is the number one. Well, the second is cancer. And it really breaks my heart when I see an 18-year-old, when I see a 12-year-old, when I see people that when I was that age, I was looking forward. I didn't even think of illness. I didn't even think that I was going to die one day. You see, and now I see these young kids bald and pale and fragile and looking at you. They're not even in despair because they hardly understand what's happening to them. It really breaks my heart. And the most important thing here is that, again, we have the power to change all that for the better. And that's what I love to talk about.
And I'm having audio issues here. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay, there you are. Okay, yeah, all of a sudden my sound went out for a second, but we're back. And so I missed about the last minute of what you said. So could you just give me a quick summation because my audio for some reason kicked out and I
Okay.
couldn't hear you.
Yeah, what I was telling you is that uh, adolescents are dying of cancer
Hmm.
today, just second to car accidents.
Hmm.
And that it really breaks my heart to see some of these very innocent people not really understanding what's happening to them, and bald and pale and fragile, and they just look at you. I don't think they're even worried because they don't fully understand what's happening to them.
Hmm.
Really
Yeah.
breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And what we have to do is, I have always thought, I see all these campaigns, for example, and we all have seen them, where they say, we're going to plant 10,000 trees. Okay, fantastic, very good idea. Who's going to look after them? Because getting 10,000 trees planted does not mean that we're going to have 10,000 trees 20 years from now.
Hmm.
You have to water them, you have to keep them healthy, you have to make sure they're not damaged, that they're not stepped on, etc. And exactly happens the same with children. I will still say children have been giving us to us as a very fantastic, beautiful uh, God's gift to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And that means that when we have a child, we have to immediately, from the minute we know we have a child, or from the minute we think we want to have a child, start learning about what that child is going to need.
Yeah.
How am I going to feed it? How am I going to take care of them? Uh, you go to a pet store and you see people that are very choosy
Yeah.
about the
Yeah. About
type
their
of
pets.
food that they're going to feed their pets.
Yeah.
But then they go out with the kids and then go to a junk food place. In other words, they are very careful about how they feed their pets. They don't care how they're going to feed their children.
Yeah.
And
It's incredible, isn't it?
yeah, and the children have to be trained. Children have to be taught. When you have a child, I think it's absolutely uh, almost criminal to let them do what they want to do because they don't know anything about it. I remember being on an airplane and there was a guy with two beautiful girls. They must have been 3, 5 years old. Beautiful. and the stewardess comes by and she says, "What do you want to drink?" And the two girls said, "Diet, blah blah blah."
Yeah. Yeah.
And the father says, "Okay, two diet, blah blah blah, and for me, give me this." How can you give a 3-year-old a drink that's carbonated, that's sweetened? Because don't fool yourself. When you have a diet soda, you're giving your pancreas a big problem. And actually, it's been proven that people that eat diet drinks get more fat in their tummies than people that drink regular drinks. And I
Yeah.
could go on for half an hour to explain you why, but it is a fact. When you drink a diet soda, you're doing a big damage to your body. If you want to keep on doing it, fine, but don't give it to children.
Yeah.
Children should be drinking water. You see, fresh water, fresh spring water. But we let them do what they want because of laziness. We don't want to say, uh, you know what, my dear, I'm going to order some water for you. You're going to
Hmm.
love it because water is what your body, what your little cells need to be
Yeah.
healthy.
Absolutely.
We have to talk to children because if we don't, then we're going to have children with cancer,
Hmm.
with diabetes. We have more and more children with diabetes and more young people with heart disease. People
You
that are
know.
young and
Yeah.
beautiful and they drop
Yeah.
dead in the fields.
Yeah. Yeah. True. How on this theme, how much does diet play a role in whether or not a person increases or decreases the likelihood of them getting cancer? How much of a role does that play, doctor?
Okay, I'm going to try to answer this in a very practical way. How long you think your brand new Rolls Royce is going to last if you just put whatever in the tank? If you don't put a tiger in the tank, just put any fuel, whatever. Let's say alcohol.
Hmm.
If you put pure alcohol on an engine, it's going to work. But for how long?
Yeah.
You're going to have a piece of junk in a very short period of time. Let me try to tell you. We need to be healthy. We need good quality protein. We need complex, good quality carbohydrates. We need good fats. We need vitamins and we need minerals because that's the way the body works. Now, if I add to that chemicals, flavoring agents, coloring agents, carbonated things, and I'm going to tell you why, and any of these things, we're going to be blocking, intoxicating the normal functions of the body.
Hmm.
And one thing you can see, and you don't want to believe me, you can talk to people you work with, you can talk to people you go to church with, and say, how many of you have heard in the last couple of years that somebody has a fatty liver?
Hmm.
That didn't exist. I always say, how many people did you meet when you were in basic school? When you were, let's say, 8 years, 9 years old, how many people in your classroom were asthmatic? And how many you know today? And I could go on and on with a lot of examples. For
Yeah.
example, allergies were virtually unknown
Yep.
in
Yeah.
America
Absolutely.
at the
Yeah.
turn of the 20th century. We didn't know them. Heart attacks were very rare in the 1900s, at the beginning of the 20th century. And now we see them all over. We have huge, fantastic, beautiful hospitals built to treat these people.
Yeah. Yep. And you make regular trips up to Alaska, and I know you just went up there recently, and you were telling me on the phone, and I thought this was very interesting, is that there's a lot of cancers that happen with people in Alaska, and I was not aware of that. I joke and say, well, I'm thousands of miles over on the East Coast, well away from that, from Alaska. But why is that? Why is there such a predominance of cancer there in Alaska? And how many times a year do you go up there and talk to people, etc.?
Well, I normally go at least once a year. If you have any vacation time, I would absolutely recommend you to go to Alaska. It's beautiful, it's wild, it's
Hmm.
fantastic, and it has great food when we travel. That's in the summer months. There's when you have the king crab, then's when you have the salmon, then's when you have the halibut, the great fish, etc. The problem with Alaska is that it has a very long winter
Hmm.
and everything has to be shipped. And that forces people to eat a lot of preserved foods or canned or processed in
Okay.
some way. And that is a problem. So it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of will. I know people that do it and try to do it in a different way. In the last couple of trips, for example, I have seen farmers market that sell fermented foods, that sell good natural foods, etc. And then the idea is how you preserve those high quality foods for the winter so you don't have to use a can. And yes, you can do it. Right now, we have, for example, excellent, excellent vacuum machines. We
Hmm.
didn't have them a few years ago. And I would tell anybody that has a preservation problem with food to buy one. Uh, a very good one could be, I don't know, $500. A simple one could be under 50. But if you take your vegetables, if you take your things and vacuum them before you put them in the fridge, you're going to
Yeah.
extend the longevity of that food without any chemical, without any preservative, with anything for probably to a couple of months, 3 months, 4 months. And if you that vacuum food put in the freezer, you can have fresh food throughout the winter.
Hmm.
So we have to start becoming smarter. Once again, knowledge empowers you to do things that are going to be good for you. In the old times, in Alaska, in the old times, people with the Inuit uh, population up north, they froze a lot of food. I have been, for example, in Point Barrow, the northernmost point in America, and they in the summer they dig holes in the backyard and then put your food in there and just wait for the winter to come. Everything was completely frozen, and you could start taking food from there as you take it from your freezer.
Mm.
So, but those were those times. In today, you go to the supermarket and you buy your foil packed, canned, preserved food.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I want to have a little fun here. If you'll just indulge me for a minute, Doctor,
Absolutely.
you're gonna like this. I remember interviewing with you many times, and you would talk about, and I hear you say this on your radio show, which is on the Truth Be Told Radio Network, 7 p.m. on Friday nights. That's Eastern Time, and you're on every week covering different important topics. You would talk about the fact that people really should have a diet where they're eating the way people ate like 100 years ago, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I want to show you about a 1 minute video clip where somebody had taken, this was from 1898. This is, it's let me see, where is this? This is there's an outdoor function. They colorize it. They cleaned it up so they added using AI some extra frames so that people don't look like they're moving too fast. But this is what people looked like in 1898 before they were eating all the preservatives, all the things that you're talking about. I'm just going to show about a minute of this, and I'd love to get your comment because I saw this and I almost fell off my chair, and you could see how people looked. Here you go.
Hello, my name is Dennis. Thank you for subscribing to my channel.
And I just thought I'd run a little bit of that clip, and I got the wrong clips out the first time, but I got to the clip I wanted, showing people coming in and out of the train station. That's been colorized and the movements normalized, but that was like 1902. So I mean, we're going back over 100 years, and that's how people looked and interacted. And there's no cell phones. There's nobody looking down. I call it magooing, looking at their phone while they're walking around. They're interacting and talking with each other, which you don't really see anymore today.
Well, I'm very happy you brought that up. That little movie, I loved it. By the way, the very first one you showed, that's the bridge in Budapest
Yeah,
in Hungary.
yeah.
But the one at the train station, you don't see fat people.
No, no fat people.
You see, I have a picture from 1956 of the opening of a big one of the household names in ice cream
Yeah.
and malt shakes and that type of stuff uh, back in the 1950s. And they are opening the brand new store, and they're giving away ice cream to people. And you
Hmm.
can see all younger, older people, uh, men, women, etc., everybody with their ice cream, very happy and smiley, etc., etc. And then you go through the whole gang, and you don't see anyone obese.
No, nobody.
You see?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and that's what we have created.
Yeah.
That's what we have created. Now, what is the problem? Because many people say, okay, I don't mind being fat. Okay, yeah, you might not. I don't mind that my children are overweight. Okay, but we have to understand that we have a very special body that cannot work under a lot of stress. Or it's going to work, but just for a limited time. So what we have to do is we have to educate ourselves and say, does my body really need all these many calories? If
Hmm.
I'm gaining weight, it's because I'm not keeping a good caloric balance. It's not as easy as
Yeah.
if I eat too much, I gain weight. No, it's not, I wish it were. But it's a big part of the equation. If we do not use those calories, don't eat them. Try
Yeah.
to contain. Like, for example, in the pandemic, I saw in many people that I was looking regularly, and after the pandemic, they show up and say, what did you do? I
Hmm.
have been gaining a lot of weight. And people answer, but doctor, with pandemic, I couldn't go to the gym. Okay,
Right.
you didn't
Right.
go to the gym, eat less. Just be rational. Okay, you're not going to spend the calories, don't eat them in the first place. Right?
Yeah.
Go for different type of food, go for fresh vegetables and fruits, etc., etc.
Right.
So that is number one. Number two, which is very important in keeping that caloric balance, is move, do something. And again, you don't have to go to the gym, you don't have to have sneakers, you don't have, just do things at home.
Yeah.
If you're working, for example, I always tell people, don't sit more than half an hour at one time. Sit half an hour, work in your computer, use things, make your phone calls, walk out, move around, go and have a glass of water. If you can get outdoors, do it. Then come back and be there for another half an hour.
Yep. And
If
you know,
you have,
it's funny because I had a job where I worked in an office for many years, Dr. Rodriguez, and at first my boss is like, "What are you doing?" Because like no matter what, around every half hour, 40 minutes around there, I'd sometimes set a timer and I would get up and just kind of walk around the office a little bit. And he goes, "What are you doing?" I'm going, "It's not good to keep just sitting and sitting and sitting." So I just get up and I just walk very briefly and then go back. And I noticed other people in the office started doing the same thing.
yeah, we have to do those things. Now, you have two important reasons. One, if you keep a caloric balance, you're not going to gain weight. And weight is very important because it's the most important source of inflammatory markers. Inflammation. Inflammation is the best way to destroy your body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Inflammation is a mechanism of defense without which we would not be alive. But if we keep turning it on and on and on and on, it's going to damage a lot of the structures of the body. It's going to help us to develop uh, uh, insulin intolerance. So
Mm-hmm.
we're going to need more insulin to do the same job. That's going to fatigate our pancreas. That's going to put us on the way of diabetes. That's going to raise our blood pressure. That's going to inflame our blood vessels, and we're more prone to have a heart attack, etc. But inflammation also blocks the natural destruction of abnormal cells of the body. If we block the destruction of cells that are not normal, what's going to happen is we are going to develop a cancer because the body gets rid of cancerous cells by destroying them. It's like if you had a police department just with good surveillance, and every individual that doesn't behave well, you take it out of circulation because you don't need the bad effects. If we didn't have police, think for a second. We don't have any policemen. We don't have any defense system. We don't have any surveillance. We don't have anything. Anybody can do whatever they can do. Well, those that are good, honest people are going to continue being good and honest. But those that are going to be uh, aggressive or just with misbehavior, etc., or criminals or blatant criminals, well, they're going to do whatever they want to do, and they're going to create a gang, and they're going to produce problems, and eventually they're going to destroy our whole society. And that's
Yeah.
what happens with the cancer. We have bad cells that cannot be attacked, that cannot be destroyed because of inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
And when we create enough of those cells, that cancer is going to kill us. Now, I'm not talking just information that, okay, yeah, it makes sense, blah, blah, blah. University of San Diego conducted a very interesting study. You know, some people have cancer and have a treatment. San Diego, of course, you're talking about chemotherapy. And
Yeah.
let's say it clearly, chemotherapy works very well for some people, and these people do well until one day the chemotherapy stops working.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? And you start wondering, this used to work very well, now it doesn't work any longer. What happened? And when they started checking, they saw that inflammation was going up and up and up. So what they did is they fought against the inflammation. And when the inflammation was
Yeah.
reduced, guess what? Everything started to work well again.
Huh. Huh.
How you bring down inflammation? By eating right, by exercising. So right now, if you open brand new information about cancer, you're going to see that physical activity is becoming a major tool in the management of cancer. And we used to think, oh my God, he has cancer, she has cancer. I'm not going to ask her to go and run or move or do anything. Well, now we think we have to establish a program according to that person's needs in order to bring down inflammation. Now,
Hmm.
let me give you another thing very, very interesting.
Please do. Please do.
In the United Kingdom, they conducted a very interesting protocol. They took a group of people and they put them on a gym with a professional trainer to tell
Hmm.
them what to do, a very good routine. They were going to be the top of the list. The other group was put in a family home and they had to vacuum clean, move the furniture to clean everything up, do the dishes, do the laundry, move around, mow the lawn, just keep the house very neat. At the end of 8 weeks, they did a lot of biochemical parameters and oxygen consumption tests, etc., etc., etc.
Hmm.
Was a very thorough, well done test. Guess who did better? The people that were taking care of the house than
Wow.
the people that were going to the gym. So I always tell people, don't tell me that you don't have time to go to the gym. Just start vacuum cleaning. Vacuum cleaning, particularly when because you have this movement of
Hmm.
going back and forth, that's very good exercise. All I suggest you to do is change your hand and change your leg. When we do this advancing, we normally use one leg in front. Then
Hmm.
after a little while, go to the other side and do it again. But get more physical about everything. If you have one, two floors up or down, use the stairs. If you want to move, move. Once I heard a comment from Cary Grant. Cary Grant was this actor who was very handsome, very everything. Everybody admired him, a very, very nice guy. And he was always lean and in good shape. And once he was asked what could he attribute all this to, and he said that he always watched children. And he says, when you tell a child to go somewhere, they never walk, they always run.
Yeah.
He says, so I started doing that. If I'm sitting here and I want to go to get something at home, I run. I go upstairs. I go fast. That tells me another good piece of information. If you engage yourself in 10 minutes, only 10 minutes of very active physical activity, like jogging a little bit, like uh, jumping, things like this, 3 times a week, I can tell you you got it made. Only 10 minutes, 3 times a week of intensive exercise. Now, how you know? Many of us cannot do it. I mean, I could not jog 10 minutes. I could not jump the rope or anything like that, of course. So what I do is, but I can walk, and what I do is, and I will ask anybody, try to walk faster. That's
Hmm.
a very good advice. If you go from here to there and you're just going at certain pace, try conscientiously to say, I'm going to do it faster. That's going to help a lot. So, in
Hmm.
other words, it takes care, it takes biocare, it takes a conscientious responsibility of taking care of yourself. Now, we're talking, you say, doctor, but you're talking about you want to prevent, you want to put the cancer in remission before it happens, blah, blah, blah. But I already have cancer.
Right.
What you have for me? The very same remedy. Because if we eat, let's say, fish twice a day, we're bringing to our body a lot of omega 3s that block inflammation. You want to bring down inflammation? Eat fish.
Mm-hmm.
You want to bring inflammation and you need omega 3s? Eat raw nuts.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to buy peanuts, buy them on the shell. If you want to have walnuts, buy them on the shell. And you need a nutcracker, break them, eat them, and you're giving your body a great food. If you buy it roasted, salted, etc., you're wasting your money and you're wasting your health.
Mm-hmm.
You have to buy raw nuts. And I could say the same with a lot of foods. About orange juice, well, you don't need orange juice, but you need oranges.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you peel the orange, we all have seen a peel orange. It's white.
Yeah.
And that white thing, if any of you know how to cook, if any one of you know how to do marmalade, you know that that thing releases a substance that's called pectin. That's what makes marmalades and jams stick together.
Right.
Well, pectin is a very powerful anti-inflammatory. So I would suggest that you peel an orange every day when you're watching TV, while you're doing nothing. Just peel your orange, take the wedges, and eat the whole orange. And take each food exactly what we were talking about. Eat as if you were living 100 years ago,
Yeah.
because people were not sick. And if you eat in the Western model of today, you're going to have the Western diseases of today.
It's very interesting. And just like those people that we saw in the video earlier, like you had commented, there was like not a single one of them that was overweight. Everybody was thin. They looked like they were in much better shape.
And all these people float. I mean, when
Yeah.
I was watching the video, you see that everybody flows through the few steps, but nevertheless, you can see how they walk, how they move, how they flow. They,
Hmm.
that's the way we should be.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the film that we see from back then, the frame rates were different than they are now. So when they're played at the regular rate, you get that kind of fast, jerky motion, and they clean that up so you can see the actual real time movement, and it just has a different effect.
Yeah.
You can see exactly what you're talking about. Now, with cancer, what are some really good things that people can do, Dr. Rodriguez? Like they don't have cancer, that they certainly don't want to get cancer. What are some of the maybe the top three things somebody can do that it's really going to help them not get that?
The top three things. Actually, for not getting cancer or heart disease or diabetes or high blood pressure, why? Many people tell me, doctor, why you say the same thing for all these diseases? Because
Hmm.
all of them have a common cause, and the common cause is inflammation. The
Hmm.
common cause is the wrong hormonal activity. The common cause is the excess calories. The common cause is the bad oils, and so on. So, what do we have to do? Three things, very important. One, food, what we eat. Second, physical activity. Third, and very important too, the health of our intestinal tract, the health of our intestinal flora. If we can keep those three under certain rules, you're going to you're going to be avoiding disease. You're going to be putting a disease that's in progress back on remission. And if you have any of those diseases, you are going to start improving. No, I talked today to a patient that called me, and I had seen her. She was overweight. She was having some pre-diabetes and so forth. And she came here because the doctors told her she would have to do insulin very in no time, etc. She was even crying. When I talked to her, I gave her a very simple diet uh, filled with fiber, and then I told her about a little bit of physical activity. She started going to a big store and just walking around and to the mall and taking care. When you take care of what you eat, you're taking care of your intestinal flora. Well, that was 3 months' time. She's lost 19 pounds. And when she went back to the doctor, they said, we cannot find anything abnormal with your sugar level. But the
Wow.
same you can say with cancer cells, even if you already have cancer. And I said, number one, I said I would take care of food. I didn't use the word diet. I hate the word diet because it implies two things. One, the sacrifice. When you say, "Oh, I'm on a diet," when people say I'm on a diet, everybody says, "Oh, poor you," because we have associated the word diet with something bad, and that's not what I want you to do. I want you to look at food as something that's nourishing your body. I always say, think every time you're going to take a bite, think, what is this going to do for my body? Where is this going to go? Is it going to make more brain cells? Is it going to help me to be stronger? Is it going to help me to detoxify, etc.? If not, don't eat it. Don't eat garbage.
Hmm.
Second, physical activity, because brings down inflammation, we said it, but also because it enhances the strength of the bones, enhances the strength and potency of the muscles, enhances every single function in the body. Everyone. There's not one function in the body that's not helped by exercise. Because when we move, what happens? Our heart beats faster, moves more blood, and the Bible tells us life is in the blood. So
Yes.
if we start
Leviticus
moving,
17:11.
yeah, if we start moving that blood, I mean, yeah, it's like an airplane. Yes, an airplane is very good as long as it flies back and forth. Same with the blood. Our blood is precious, but it has to flow. If it doesn't flow well enough, it's nothing is going to happen. So when we exercise, all of a sudden our cheeks go rosy,
Hmm.
we feel hot, we feel all these things. Why? Because the blood is flowing.
Yeah.
And with that flow of blood, life is going to every single organ of your body. You're bringing life to yourself. And then your tummy. If we, most people I talk to, and you can just analyze this, and I'm sure you're going to agree. Many people you talk to, they're either constipated, they have problems moving their bowels, they only move their bowels every other day or every 2 days. I have seen them that move it almost once every week. And you should be moving your bowels every single day because that's healthy. Second, they are bloated. I ate too
Hmm.
much and they look like a balloon. No, it's not because you ate too much. It's because you ate the wrong thing. And when you eat the wrong thing, it's going to feed the wrong bacteria in your tummy. And those bacteria are gas producers. So you're going to blow up, you're going to be bloated, and you are going to be gassy. Next one, because that brings a nutrition problem for the gut starts to uh, to get problems. It
Hmm.
starts to lose integrity. The cells start to separate one from another, and all of a sudden, the food content of your gut is going to be entering your system without any checkpoint. It's going to start getting into the blood. So we eat and then we feel achy, we feel bad because the wrong proteins are coming into your blood. The wrong things are coming into your blood. And then people tell me, Doctor, I'm gluten intolerant. Doctor, I'm lactose intolerant. Doctor, blah, blah, blah. I ask you, Kevin, I ask anybody, uh, 50 years ago, did you ever meet anybody with glucose or gluten intolerance? Of course not. We didn't even know the term. But now it's very frequent because we're damaging our intestinal flora because of the things we eat and because of the things that we do not eat. Once again, if you educate yourself, if you do just dedicate a little bit of time to review some of these things, and in today's environment with the internet, it's very easy to get all these resources and know what I should be doing. I mean, if you look for us, if you search Spotify and you look for Truth Be Told Radio Network, God, we have like over 150 hours
Yeah.
of information that's going to be talking about this. What about what we do at the hospital, but what you can do at home? Because my whole idea is to change the way you approach your own life. I have always said, if I have to meet you, I'd love to meet you on a vacation. I would hate you to make you
Yeah.
to the hospital because you're sick.
Yes, exactly. I got a few minutes left. So, is there anything that we haven't covered right now in almost this last hour that we haven't touched on that you would like to get out on the air?
Well, what I'd like to say is if you have a question, please ask because getting the proper answers is going to get you in the right direction. Many
Hmm.
people ask their neighbor or somebody they know what to do about this, and you might have, but you might not have the right answer. If you call us, all you have to do, you have a toll-free number, no strings attached, no rates to be paid, nothing. If you call the hospital and you ask me any question like, Doctor, I heard you talking about this or that. What can you tell me about this problem that I have? I'll be very happy to talk it to you. I don't want you necessarily to say, no, you just have to come to the hospital. No, I want to talk to you because I want you healthy. That's my quest in life. My quest in life is to keep used to be to help people to recover their health.
Hmm.
And I know right now that I can help you a big way. I have seen critical cases recover their health. But now my quest is beyond that. I want you to be healthy, never come to the hospital. But I need you to help me. I need you to jump aboard and tell me, okay, doctor, what am I going to do? And we can talk to each other or we can email. I mean, you can, I love email because at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can say, oh, I forgot to ask this. And you send your question. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to see if the phone line is available, etc. Just ask your question. I'll be happy to uh, type back an answer and
What
give you
what
quantities and
is
things to do.
what is the best email address that people can use to get in touch with you directly?
It's very simple. Doctor, spell the full word, Doctor, doctor at biocarehospital.com. Bio, B-I-O, carehospital.com. All
Yeah,
small
and
cases.
that's excellent. And the toll free number that you have, if somebody wanted to try to
Sure,
call, what number would they use?
it's 800 701 7345, and
Can you
we're
say that one more
available.
time?
Nope. Well, the hospital is normally open for the telephone, let's say
Yeah.
from 7 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock. Uh, we're on Pacific time. But if you call at a different time, just leave us the message. We're going to get back to you. We
That's excellent.
really, we really we're really going to chase you. If you ask a question, I'm going to make sure I contact you again or I make sure that I talk to you because I really care that you can put all these diseases on remission before they happen. But if
Yeah,
you haven't, you can do so many things that are going to make you feel so much better. So take advantage of that. It's in
yeah.
your hands. It's within your power.
Yeah, and it's interesting because one thing I got a kick out of, I don't know what would be the right way to put it, but you talk about the fact that you have like a five-star restaurant quality kitchen and it's bigger than your pharmacy. So that really tells me where your priorities are in talking about all these things we talked about over the last hour, the inflammation, eating right and everything, and you're not just pumping people full of all these exotic drugs, you're actually giving people good, healthy food to eat.
Well, I am a true believer that thy food is thy medicine. So what I want you to do is you have to learn about this because once again, if we eat right, we're going to be helping our body big. We're going to
I have
help
1 minute.
big our body.
Yeah. I have 1 minute. Anything you want to add real quick?
Well, any questions you have, I want you to contact me. I want you to join me on social media. I want to be part of this group. I want you to be part of this team. I want you to say, I'm going to help myself, I'm going to help others, because this is important. Not only that we work for ourselves, but we work for everybody. Whatever knowledge God gives us is to be shared.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dr. Rodriguez, I thank you so much for joining me here on the program this time around. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. And folks, I'm Kevin Gallagher. I thank you for joining me here on Time Out. We're seen, as I said, every Friday night, 8:30 p.m. here in Connecticut. On Monday mornings at 11 a.m. we replay the show. And Dr. Rodriguez, stay right there. I want to talk to you when we get off the air. And folks, you can check us out on YouTube, Twitter, all the different feeds, Facebook, you name it. Go just put my name into a search engine and you'll find a bunch of stuff. But I thank you very much for joining us here tonight. On behalf of Dr. Rodriguez, I say thank you for joining us. And please tune in again next time to see what it is we'll be talking about. Until then, God bless you and have a great night. Bye-bye.